advantage is ultimately being optimistic about ideas and being optimistic when you're creating them. This time, the team takes up a firm positive position, focusing on the positive, the values, and the benefits. And so using the Caroline's example, we could say all members of the group really like seeing new places. So driving could be a good thing because we get to see so many cities, and they could see so many mountains, crossing the Appalachian Mountains. So that would be something that's super optimistic about driving. Or flying, you could say, oh, it'll be so much faster. We could get there and spend more time in Maine versus driving. And then moving on to the next hat, the red hat, it's about emotions. And with the red hat, the team expresses its feelings, whatever they are, without the need to justify them. The red hat acknowledges all the emotions that are present and whether they are negative or positive feelings. And so when we use Caroline's travel dilemma, we could say, I'm afraid a road trip could have too many unknowns. Like we could break down, someone could fall asleep at the wheel, and that just gives me so much anxiety about driving there. And it makes me feel kind of uncomfortable wanting to drive there. And then lastly, the blue hat. The blue hat is special as it guides all the others. Blue hats are pragmatic and action-oriented, and it symbolizes taking a step back and organizing the discussions. When you're using the blue hat, you can help to organize the ideas the other hats created, clarifying objectives of the problem, and eventually helping to create a process or a plan for potential implementation of an idea. When we use Caroline's travel problem as an example, we could say, let's look at how a road trip would work for this. Maybe let's go back to the yellow hat idea and see what the benefits are of driving again. Let's organize how the other hats could work together to get a plan. So these are the things you're thinking about. It's about organizing, planning, and leading discussion. And so we need all these hats together to create effective solutions. And now that I've gone over all the hats, we can use them to do an activity. So this activity will have us brainstorming solutions to a prompt that we created for you all using the 6 thinking hats. And first, we're going to transition into Miro. The link will be pasted for everyone in the chat.
Okay, thank you, Natalie. So I just dropped the link on the chat, and now let's all go to Miro and get a little bit more familiar with Miro before we go to the activity. Miro, in case if you don't know it, is whiteboard, digital whiteboard for collaborative work, famous for the using sticky note. Let's go over the basic. So if you can go to the to the left side, you can see the toolbars, and you can grab a sticky note from there and write your name, maybe. I'm gonna ask everyone to follow me so you can see actually the sticky note. And also, if you go to the lower left, there is a chat button where we can drop some information just to keep you, updated. And we will gonna say it as well in Zoom. Next and lastly is if you want to adjust in the lower right, the view, zoom in, zoom out to see where you are. For now, we are gonna, I hope everything is okay. Are we okay with Miro? Okay. So now we are gonna move to Taylor. So Taylor is a grad student who's working at Tulane 20 hours a week, and she's graduating May 2021. Very interesting time for Taylor. And she's in a job hunt, which make her super stressed. She just get a new puppy. His name is Coco. And her nail-biting habits and recurrent migraine occur again. However, Taylor is very self-aware, and she wants to have some joy in her life and relieve the stress. She used to have hobbies like journaling, gaming, and painting, and she would love to have that back. So if you come with your thinking hat, we were going to send you to breakout rooms. Please use only 2 hats that is designated in the board, and try to find how can you bring Taylor back again to her habits or relieve her stress. Are we ready for breakout room, Niesha?
Yeah, do you have any questions? The room that you're in will correspond with the room in Miro. So just look at what room you're in, and then that's the board that you're going to go to. But any questions before we send you to the breakout rooms?
Question.
Yep.
So, good morning, everybody. I'm in there in Miro. I see people floating around, but I'm not able to get to the specific spaces. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. It's not zooming.
So you're saying that you can't zoom out?
Oh, no, I figured it out.
Okay.
I was having trouble. Others went. Yeah, I can move around now. I'm now in planning. I don't know. It was stuck. Couldn't get into gear. I'm good now.
Someone deleted my room. Number 4, that's fine. The frame, it's the frame.
Is everybody else okay? Okay, if you need help, just call us in. I'm going to open up the breakout rooms. It looks like most people are back. I hope I gave you enough time. All right, so I'd love to hear some sharing out. How did that go? Let's start with somebody from room 2. How did that go? Anybody?
I think we had great fun. We ran out of time at the end. But we all were able to share ideas, and then also all of us figured out how to use Miro, those who didn't know. So yeah, it was really fun to kind of get creative. I felt like both of our hats, and we were green hat and red hat. In the end, we just ended up being pretty creative around both of those.
Do you or anybody else in your group want to share any of the creative ideas you came up with?
We had so many.
What was like? Go ahead.
For the red hat, which is a focus kind of on intuition and feelings, we came up with a lot of fun, like have a passion pal, which is a new term, someone you can just really say everything, express all your feelings to. We came up with primal screaming, rom-com movie night, and then cooking night with emotional themes. A lot of just fun ways for Taylor to focus on her feelings in this period.
Nice. I love that. Let's see. I'm just gonna pick on someone. Janice, what group were you in?
I was in group 5.
All right. Do you want to talk about some of the stuff you guys talked about in your experience?
We were just really figuring out Miro, so we really didn't talk much. We did some action, but maybe someone else can share, because I was just kind of figuring it all out. We did say allowing her to vent her feelings, having like a vent night or time of venting. But I think one of us said crying with her. And showing that empathy, but beyond that, I let someone else from our group take over.
Yeah. Let's see. Does any other group want to share out about a different hat? Did anybody have, like, I think I saw on the board someone had like the white hat, right? The white and the yellow hat. Which group was that?
Oh, that was my group. Does anybody from my group want to go? So, you don't have to, but if I can go, if nobody else wants to go.
Okay.
I can go.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Samantha.
We had the yellow and white hat. The white hat didn't really come up with any ideas, kind of just regurgitated what was given to us, which I thought was so strange. The yellow one, we were focusing on the positives. So we came up with ideas based on like the positive things we could glean from the situation. So she has a puppy. She doesn't have to worry about nail grooming. She's graduating. She's doing it before. She's looking for a job before she's graduating. So it was an interesting mixture of the two strategies.
Yeah, awesome. Does anyone else want to share before we kind of go on to our next activity? All right. So, okay. All right. So Yeah, so that is really interesting. Kind of like Samantha said, this activity was supposed to be like a little bit weird, a little bit challenging for you. But for the next activity, which I hope Shaymaa is unhiding our next activity on the mural board, you're gonna go back into your groups and you're gonna do pretty much the same prompt with Taylor, but this time each person in the group is going to adopt a different hat. I understand that everybody in the group may have, like when you took the quiz, you guys may all be green hats, but that's okay. Everyone's gonna adopt a different hat. For example, if me and Natalie are in the same group, I'm gonna be a white hat, Natalie's gonna be a red hat, and we're gonna try to do the same thing, except we're all gonna be a different hat. So we're gonna come up with an idea as a group, except we're all gonna be a different hat. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. And again, if you have any questions, just let me know. But now I'm gonna stick you back into your groups. All right? All right, good luck. I can't wait to hear your guys' ideas. Welcome back, slowly coming back. I hope I gave you all enough time. I think, is this everybody? Oh, no. Some people are still coming back. Might be everybody.
Yeah, we just got sucked back in.
Okay. All right. Great. Well, welcome back. Welcome back. All right. So just like last time, I'd love to hear about how that went and how that was different. Let's do some compare and contrast. Does anyone want to talk about how that was different than the last time?
The first thing that comes to mind for me is it was more realistic of like daily life, trying to work with different people with, you know, different ways of thinking about a problem and how you have to figure out something together.
Thanks for sharing. Laura, I saw that you unmuted yourself. Did you want to say what you were going to say?
Oh, hey, yeah. We just had some issues with Mira, but aside from that, I think that actually captures more of the 6 hats as I understood it. And so it was really cool to kind of force oneself to think differently. I had to force myself to think really critically about all the terrible things that could go wrong and the risks. It was good.
Yeah. Great. So did you adopt the black hat in your group?
I was black hat. Yeah.
Okay, great. Does anyone else want to share? Especially people who I guess like adopt a different hat than what they got on the quiz.
I will say I was the black hat and I kept slipping in and out towards the end because I'm really not. And so it was kind of hard to keep being pessimistic.
I was in that group as well. And I guess unsurprisingly, I adopted a green hat, but I liked being able to respond to the black hat with a new idea, you know, and so every pessimistic thing, I was like, okay, well, we'll create a list. And so that was nice in our group.
Yeah. Does any group want to share the idea that they came up with quickly, or one of the ideas they came up with for Taylor?
Can we spotlight randomly in one of the boards and then we ask them to share maybe?
Yeah, I can share my screen again and we can see all the boards and everything.
It was just a suggestion.
Yeah, Natalie, what did your group come up with? Just one.
Yeah, so we just kind of went through, each person like was talking about their ideas through each is their own specific hat. With the red hat that Samantha took, we were kind of thinking, she was kind of thinking, it seemed to think, I don't want to speak for her, but she seemed to think that she was thinking of ideas to relieve like emotional stress maybe. So we thought of an eye mask, which the blue hat really liked when we were like, we should go back to the eye mask idea, or drinking teas to ease stress. I don't know if Samantha wants to speak more on the red hat that she was looking at.
Sure. I mean, I was just really focused on the feeling. I don't know if I did it right in terms of, was it her feelings or just like relieving the feelings or just brainstorming on how to make her feel different. I don't know. But I was just like kind of thinking like, what would make me feel better, and kind of brainstorming off of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was like something. And then I know Patricia, she was saying that she struggled to be the black hat because she was not a black hat person. Patricia, did you want to say any more on that?
Yeah, it was really uncomfortable. It was a little anecdote that at the start we saw that there was a puppy, and now we didn't see in the description that there was a puppy. So I was thinking that it died meanwhile. And I think that's not a good idea that she continues looking a job these times. It's better to continue her studies. So it was quite uncomfortable to get out of the perspective that I usually use to brainstorm, but really interesting.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I do really want to be cognizant of time. So basically, yeah, like I'm glad that you guys got to see the difference between, you know, kind of using one hat and then kind of walking through Taylor's situation using all of different hats or a few of the hats if you were in a group that didn't have all 6 of the hats. This is definitely a slight twist on the concept. And as you saw in the chat, Sneha has posted a book, De Bono's book, so you can really see how the 6 thinking hats is done maybe in like a more traditional style. And I'll definitely open it up for Leslie to talk about how she does it in her classes. But really, I really like the 6 thinking hats. It's really nice to, you know, understand that your hat is not glued to your head. You can always switch to a different hat and a different way of thinking, especially when you are coming up with the solution and working in a team, as Jacinda said. So at that note, I just want to thank you all for coming. And again, I'm going to actually open it up to Leslie so she can talk about how she's used the 6 thinking hats in her classrooms.
Okay, thanks, Niesha. Actually, I didn't do it this semester, but like I normally ask people at the start of the semester to do the quiz so we could figure out what hats people wear. And then we try something similar where we ask people to use one hat. And it's normally very difficult to solve something using one hat. But surprisingly, my group this morning, because my group this morning was just amazing, we were able to actually come up with ideas with one hat. But normally, like when there's an overwhelming set of people with one hat alone, normally you can't move your ideas forward because maybe people are too pessimistic, or the optimistic people don't actually want to get things done. The creative people are always coming up with new ideas. You know, like I wear a green hat normally, and I know that I'm in that place where I'm always thinking, okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? And you know, like what we really need to see in this kind of activity is how we actually need all of these hats to get things done. So we do need the pessimistic person, we need the analytical person, the emotional person, and all of that. And I just like this activity and this theory for us to see how to work with people from diverse backgrounds. And I don't know if anyone else wants to, maybe we could stop sharing screen so we could see people's faces a bit. What I wanted to ask people though, in the first one, you know, like, I know it's 2 minutes before time. Did anyone have a really, really hard time getting anything out there in the first time around, or maybe even the second time around? Where were some of the real barriers? Or was everyone just amazing and you got stuff out? Oh my goodness.
I'll go. This is Julie. So I was in group 2, which was a great group, but I found that the second time around, when I had a hat that I wasn't familiar with and don't really come from that place, that it was hard to put that hat on for me. So I found that I was quieter and I didn't contribute as much because I wasn't as comfortable in that hat.
I would also say in our group, the first time we had gotten into a groove empathizing using that hat, but we hadn't actually moved to like generating ideas with the hat.
Yeah. Now Niesha's going to be upset with me because sorry, someone else was going to speak. Who was that?
I was just going to say it was hard to isolate under one hat at a time and to really try to focus on just that approach at once. So I was coming up with stuff and I was like, no, that belongs somewhere else.
Yeah. All right, so now I have to be respectful of people's time. I see people's LinkedIn handles. I guess quickly I should find mine. But our next date is, Niesha, you know the date for the next one?
Yep, our next DT breakfast is going to be on February, the end of February. But we will have a DT gumbo before that at the beginning of February.
All right, so we look forward to connecting with people. Join our mailing lists and follow us so that you can figure out what other stuff we're doing. And we look forward to seeing you next month.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Go Team 2.